Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Literary Love 123. Today's video is going to be a book tag. So let's get started. This book tag is called the Time and Place tag, and it was created by Carl at Please Read Your Book. I will leave that video link down in the description box below. Carl tagged me, so I definitely wanted to make sure that I participated in this tag, and I think it's a really fun tag too. So I apologize because I do have a bit of a cold, cough, and sore throat. So you're going to hear that in my voice, but I wanted to go ahead and get this tag out in a timely manner. So let's go. So the first prompt is a book that reminds you of your past. And for this prompt, I chose Pet Cemetery by Stephen King. When I was in like ninth grade, I think, my friends and I had a party, and the movie that we chose to watch for that party was Pet Cemetery by Stephen King. And I found out after we watched that movie that one of my friend's mothers had this huge home library full of Stephen King books. And her super cool mom actually let me borrow Pet Cemetery. And after that, my love for Stephen King was just full on. It was not only my introduction to Stephen King, but it was also my introduction to horror books in general. And I cannot imagine what my life would be like without horror in it. It is my favorite genre. And when I think about how I got started, I think about Pet Cemetery and my friend and her mom. So this is my choice for a book that reminds me of my past. The second prompt is a book that is set in a place that you want to visit but have not. And the book I chose for this prompt is Glare. I'm so sorry. Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. I read this book in grad school for my global literature class. I ended up writing a paper on it. And so this book, we're following these young college students as they're trying to navigate relationships, love, loss. I don't really want to say a lot about it because I don't want to give anything away. I went into it completely without knowing much about it, and I feel like that's the best way to approach this book. The title, Norwegian Wood, is based on a song by the Beatles, and this song is one of the favorites of one of the characters in this book. And it really comes to symbolize a lot of what takes place in the story. So if you have not read Haruki Murakami, I suggest starting with Norwegian Wood. And I say that without having read any of his other books. But I know that they can be challenging, but I really, really enjoyed Norwegian Wood. And I hope one day, did I even mention it's set in Japan? And that is a country that I would like to visit but have not been able to do so yet. I'm going to have to get a sip of my sparkling ice. Hold on. Okay. So the next prompt is a book set in a foreign country that you admire. So the book that I chose for this is The Snow Queen. And now there are other winter tales in here that are not set in Denmark, but The Snow Queen is written by the Danish author Hans Christian Andersen. So I'm just going to say it's set in Denmark, and I admire the country of Denmark for their practice of, and I think this is how we say it, hygge. Um, and it is basically the art of being cozy. And it is a way that they create a comforting atmosphere in their homes, especially when we think about the harsh, cold winter months. And that is something that I try to recreate in my home too. Even though we'll talk in just a minute about where I live, I don't really get a lot of harsh cold winter. So I have to get kind of creative and think about throughout the year how I can cultivate this art of coziness in my home. So Denmark and the practice of hygge, I really admire and try to recreate to the best of my abilities that practice in my home. So, skipping on to the next prompt, a book set in the city, province, or district you live in. So, I chose the kind of the region and the part of the state in which I live. I live on the Gulf Coast of Alabama. So now you see why I don't necessarily have a lot of snowy winters here. We do get some cold weather, but snow is very rare. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, the book that I chose that's set in the state and kind of the part of the state where I live is The Elementals by Michael McDowell. This makes sand creepy. This is a just a fabulously unique take on a haunted house. It's Southern Gothic and it's set on the Gulf Coast of Alabama. And the heat and the humidity are characters of their own in this book. And I cannot convey to you how very real that is in the summer here. The heat and the humidity absolutely wreck my whole mental state. It's awful. It's so hot. It's so humid. It's so oppressive. And he does such a great job of evoking that atmosphere in this book. And again, that is The Elementals by Michael McDowell. Again, I got to get a sip of my water. Okay, so the last prompt is a book set in the future that you think is or will be realistic. Now, this is probably just right on the nose, hit you over the head, obvious, but I just feel like this book is quite relevant to us today. And that is the classic Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. You have book burnings. It's illegal to read. You have people who are so obsessed with these kind of virtual communication devices. It is just, like I said, it's probably right on the nose. But yeah, and if you haven't read Fahrenheit 451, I do recommend it. It's a classic that's, in my opinion, easy to get into and enjoy. So I want to say thank you so much again to Carl at Please Read Your Book for creating this tag and for tagging me. And again, I will tag a few people, but if you are watching this, I want to see your answers to this. So consider yourself tagged. If you do this video, tag me in it because I want to make sure I don't miss it. But specifically, I want to tag Kat at Kat's Novel Adventures, Lauren at Happy Haunts Library, Christine at C Crits Read, and I'm going to leave it at that right now because I might go on forever. So if you're seeing this, you're tagged. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know, even if you don't do a video, let me know some of your answers down in the comments below because I want to know, what would you choose for your time and place book tag? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe, like this video, hit that bell so we can continue this conversation. Bye.